Retaliatory tariffs, a phrase you should probably understand. By now, you already know that President-elect Trump last night announced on his social media page that on day one in office, he is going to impose a 25% tariff on imports from Canada and Mexico and an additional 10% tariff on imports from China. Trump says he's doing this to stop illegal migrants and drugs from coming into the United States. Now, Trump says he's going to do this through executive order. But the new president of Mexico had something to say about that today, and so did Canada's prime minister, which I will share with you in a second. But first, a few things. I did a whole big deep dive video about how tariffs work. If you have not seen it, I highly encourage you to go watch it right now. But the short version is the facts prove four things. One, in the end, tariffs are generally not paid for by the other countries. They are a tax that you and me, the American consumer, ends up paying for. Two, in the last 70 years, tariffs have never accounted for more than 2% of the total federal revenue in this country. So history shows tariffs do not bring in that much money. Three, it is highly unlikely to avoid these tariffs that American companies en masse would fully bring manufacturing back to the United States and produce every single good in this country. It is just not cost effective. And four, it is highly unlikely that Congress would ever approve a complete elimination of federal income tax to offset the increase in prices we're all going to be paying from these tariffs. Again, I have all the facts that back up everything I just said in that video. Please go watch it. You also need to understand that Mexico and Canada and China are the United States' closest and most important trading partners. We're talking like more than $2 trillion of goods and services traded between the countries every single year. The U.S. imports cars, car parts, electrical equipment, and fruit from Mexico, and imports oil and gasoline and machinery from Canada. Plus, it's no secret how much we import from China. These trade partnerships are a big deal. And it is unclear how Trump is going to impose these tariffs specifically on Mexico and Canada and get around a deal that he himself made with Mexico and Canada during his first term. Trump negotiated the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. You may know it as the USMCA. It allows for free trade between the US, Canada, and Mexico and says tariffs really can't be slapped on many of the imports from those three countries. Of course, there is no such policy with China. That's a totally different story. Now, let's talk about the new president of Mexico's response to Trump's tariff announcement. President Sheinbaum basically said, bet. Today, she said, neither threats nor tariffs will solve the issue of migration or drug consumption. One tariff would be followed by another in response, and so on until we put at risk common businesses. And that, my friends, would be a retaliatory tariff threat. She is saying if Trump tries to tariff Mexican goods going against the USMCA, Mexico is going to slap tariffs on the US automakers who have plants on both sides of the border, among many other things. She went on to say she is absolutely willing to work with Trump to tackle the issues that he's concerned about, but imposing tariffs is not the way to do it. By the way, she also says she has a beef with the United States and the weapons that she says are flowing into her country from this one. And she wants that handled. Now, this strong response from President Sheinbaum is much different than what Trump is used to. And when he was in office the first time, Mexico had a different president who was pretty chummy with Trump. She is new and appears to be very different. But someone Trump is familiar with, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He said today that immediately after Trump posted that announcement last night about tariffs, he was on the phone with Trump talking about it. Today, Trudeau said, we obviously talked about laying out the facts, talking about how the intense and effective connections between our two countries flow back and forth. Basically, he's reminding Trump of what a tariff like that would mean for his people and the United States. Now, we know for a fact that Trump loves tariffs. He's talked about them forever. But whether he's serious about what he said last night, or if he is using this as a negotiating tactic, or if this is simply just a pissing contest between all these countries, is something we won't know for sure until Trump takes office in January.